the key to making these movies different, unique each time, is to, I wouldn't say take chances necessarily, but to be able to move pieces around on the playing board and be able to subvert expectations. In terms of the big event that happens in the movie that changes everything, that was part of the plan for quite a while, to mix things up and for the world to be very different at the beginning of Avengers 2 than it was at the end of Avengers 1. But also the Russos, in terms of tone, in terms of action, when we met with Joe and Anthony, they were very clear and had very lofty ambitions, saying things like, we want to do the best car chase in any Marvel movie, and maybe the best car chase of all time. I said, well, that sounds good. Let's try that. And referencing the best choreographed fight scenes from the last 30 years as inspiration, and damned if they didn't pull it off.
Yeah, for us it was just a function of tone. I mean, the source material from Boo Breaker is an espionage film.
John Le Carre, not Jack Kirby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a better reference I could ever come up with.
You talk about the fact that Nick Fury is the only one who knows the big picture, and you just get a little bit. I'm curious, is Kevin your Nick Fury? Is he the only one who knows the big picture of all the Marvel movies and the plans? And have any of you approached and tried to get a little more out of him?
I would say that Samuel L. Jackson always has been, always will be our Nick Fury. That's all I know. That's all I know. There are a lot.
Very Nick Fury response.
That's your answer, I guess.
No, we don't ask for anything. We just ask not to be killed.
Tell me about working with the great Robert Redford.
He's amazing. It was pretty intimidating that day because he is a living legend. But it's always such a treat when someone you look up to that much lives up to the expectation. I mean, he very easily could have come on set and hijacked the film, not just as an actor, but given his past as a director and his experience, he very easily could have taken over. He showed up with the utmost professionalism in his lines. I think the first day we filmed, we shot till 1 in the morning, and he stuck around for my off-camera stuff. I mean, it was like it was his first movie. So he really is such an example of what it is to be great.
Sam?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I met Robert in a lot of different situations when I was going to Sundance when I was a younger actor, when he had a more active part in that process, and I missed an opportunity to do several films with him over the years. And that morning when I got there to work with him for the first time, we sat down, we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about golf, we talked about life, we talked about movies. So by the time we got on set, it did look like we spent time together or had some past in some darker and more medieval state of counterinsurgency. And it was a great experience. He's everything Chris said. He's professional. He knew his lines. He wanted to do it. He wanted to try in different ways. He wanted to, make things better. And that's part of coming into the Marvel universe. People come in and they see what we do and they kind of want to blend into it and make things better. And as we continue to do it, things do get better.
Traditionally, you're comedic directors for episodes of Community as well as I think Arrested Development.
Have you seen the show?
So how did you adapt your styles that you've learned directing those episodes to a multi-million-dollar action film north of the budget in 9 digits?
It was actually 10 digits, but we're not talking about that. The process is very different. You still go to set. You're still directing actors. You're still working with the crew. You have an infrastructure at Marvel that's very different than anywhere else in the world, which is an incredible infrastructure, very talented, very intelligent people who are there to help you get your vision across. But we always say comedy isn't very different from action. It requires choreography. So when you're doing a good comedic bit, it's all about the choreography and the timing of it, which isn't very different than stunt work or a fight in a movie. It's all a dance. So we didn't feel like it was that big of a stretch for us. It felt like every day that we've been on set for the last 15 years.
This is for Kevin. There's a Spider-Man and an X-Men movie coming out next month, and you seem to be setting up so much within the Disney Marvel universe here. I'm wondering if you could tell me how much, if any, influence you have on these other Marvel films that come out of different studios.
It's limited. It's very limited with the other studios. Mainly for two reasons. One, because we're quite busy building our own cinematic universe, and also the contracts are very old and the approvals are very limited. Who did what?
Quite busy making better fucking movies. Sorry. No, that's all. I thought it was all. I was in my voice. You thought it was all.
Is there any more to say about that?
No, I mean it's sort of is what it is. Those contracts are very old with the other studios. I expect they'll be making Spidey movies at Sony for a long time and X-Men movies at Fox for a long time, and I hope we keep making MCU movies for a long time at Marvel.
The script on this is obviously there's a lot of monumental twists and turns. Can you just talk about the first time you received the script? What went through your mind when you first read it, and what excited you the most about The Winter Soldier?
Gee, that's a lot of questions. Well, I'm always excited to do more, and Nick seems to grow with each, film. And I realized when I was reading it that it was a bit more than just, a comic book feature. That it had intrigue, and I'm sure a lot of young people are going to be surprised when they get in the movie and watch it that they actually have to think about something other than what's going on. You got to figure out a plot, and that always excites me. And it was. It's always a great joy to know that I'm going to be back in a space with all the people that I enjoy working with and being able to do the things that I did on a very small scale when I was a kid. I mean, this is, a dream come true. You sit there and you read comic books when you're a kid and you wonder if there's a world like that. You grow up as an actor and they start making movies like that and you wonder, how can I get in that movie? And then next thing you know, you're inside it and you're kind of like, yeah. So, they're all pluses there.
I've never really had the opportunity to do something, it's an interesting challenge to keep coming back to this character. And I think one of the, I have the good fortune of playing a character that's sort of evolving with each kind of installment that you see her in. So, of course, I know, going in to play the character, of course, I have to understand who this character is and where she comes from and have this sort of rich backstory. And I think the exciting thing is just scraping away a little part of that each time, to reveal, kind of a small part of the bigger picture of her. And it's a very complex character, which is wonderful for me because over the period of time that I played her, I've also grown. Obviously, it's been like 6 years, as you do in your career, your work, your life. So I feel that the story is sort of becoming, the character story is more enriched as my own experiences are.
Hi Chris, I just wanted to ask you, you've spent a lot of time in Cap's suit now, and I wanted to know, when you first put it on, when you come back for each outing, how that feels. Does it still feel as exciting when you pick up the shield?
It always feels like it gets tighter. I'm supposed to get more comfortable. I feel like this got worse. I'm not joking. That really happens. But it's they always make improvements on it, and it is that thing. Once you get a good sweat going, it loosens up quite a bit. It's exciting. Again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're making good movies. If you were disappointed with the previous film, it's going to be hard to mentally prepare yourself for living in that thing for 4 or 5 months. But since Marvel just can't stop making quality movies, it's exciting and it's humbling and it's an honor to jump back into it.
With the first film with Captain America, he's getting to punch Nazis, and who doesn't love watching a Nazi get punched in the face? With this film, obviously bringing it into the modern setting, you have to deal with modern politics, America's sort of role in the world. How did you thread the needle, as it were, to maybe avoid taking this film towards anything too, recent? I've heard that 3 Days of the Condor was a reference point for you.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, we're making a political thriller, and I don't know that we might have done the opposite of what you're asking about. We tried to run at what's happening in the world today with the movie. We were very. Somebody's trying to stop me from saying that. Yeah, so we were being very, we were thinking about like what's going on in the world with preemptive strikes and the president's kill list, and then the whole Snowden thing came out after we were shooting. But it was just reflective of that was sort of the tip of the iceberg of all the other sort of elements that were going on in the world that we were thinking about. So, I mean, we tried, we tried to give the movie some sort of make it reflective of our real world condition and our real world stakes, even though it's a fantasy expression of what that is.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.